Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel where today we're taking a look at the brand new Ford Mustang Dark Horse, the new 7th generation Mustang. In fact, as well as the Dark Horse, we also have the new GT Convertible, plus VIN 001 is being auctioned right here at the 2023 Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale auction. But I'm here to take a good look at this. As you can probably imagine, having owned a Shelby GT500 and driven 12 or 13,000 miles with it out here in the US before I imported it to the UK, there's kind of an absence of a US Shmeemobile, and this could be a very, very good option. This particular Dark Horse has the full handling package. It's in blue ember, the paint color. We're going to have a complete look around it, the exterior of this car, have a look at the interior. We'll also check out the dashboard and displays in the new Mustang and run through the different options and things that are available. Yeah, here we are at Barrett-Jackson to take a first look at the Mustang Dark Horse. These are the cars then. The new 7th generation Ford Mustang is here. A long history that stretches back all the way to the 1960s. Absolutely legendary cars along the way. And this is the car that's going to be driving across the auction block here at Barrett-Jackson, celebrating this long-standing history between Barrett-Jackson and the Ford Motor Company as they raise funds for charity by auctioning VIN 001, the first customer production car that the customer will be able to spec in exactly their configuration. But we're going to take a look at that, the GT with the 5-litre V8. We're going to be taking a look also at the convertible version as well, plus this, the Dark Horse, the first time that a new badge has been introduced to the Mustang family in a fair while, and this is the ultimate. In fact, it gives me a lot of feeling of the Shelby GT350 from the 6th generation Mustang. Look at the anger and aggression of this. Let's talk about the design of the car, run through the specifics as well, dive into the interior a little bit here with the convertible. But this is the new 5-litre GT. Yes, the 5-litre naturally aspirated V8 that can be had with a 6-speed manual gearbox or with the 10-speed auto. In fact, in here we have the 6-speed. It's actually a different 6-speed that's available in the Dark Horse, but more on that in just a moment. The 5-litre makes 480 horsepower. Big numbers out of this, and as you can see from the design, they've introduced elements from all of the previous 6 generations. It's very sporty up front, this slightly leaning forward nose, the traditional grille insert with the horse found right in there, the different shapes and openings for the cooling, these eyebrows that you have almost over the top of the narrow headlights. As we come around towards the side, the 5.0 badging, we've got the wheels and the Pirelli P0 tyres specific for this particular car. We've got the contrast here of the black roof, that iconic fastback style rear deck coming down towards the fixed wing, a different wing between the GT and the Dark Horse, but the wing that we find right here, and then these tail lights, the way they indent and create this aggressive line, this aggressive shape across the back of the car that's been discussed at length as well. Down below we have the quad exhaust tailpipes, 2 on either side with the diffuser insert as well. There are 11 colours available as standard with the car, and as I said, those 2 different gearboxes also. We have rapid red on the convertible just here with the silver or chromed logos and badges to give you that contrast, to give you that slightly different look, and the satin wheels as well that we have on it. Now, before we get to look at that, let's check this out, the Dark Horse. Power is uprated to 500 horsepower, 500 horsepower from the 5-litre naturally aspirated V8, as much as the GT500 of around a decade and a half ago. There are a few visual cues though that give it away. Not only the different liveries, as you can see, we've got the black central section, this darker silver side section, we've got the vent on the hood as well, but also these satin inserts around the front grille. We've got the extended front splitter, as you can see, beneath the bumper up front. If we come towards the rear, the stripe package continues over the top with the fastback roof, even down here to the boot lid, the trunk lid, and we have a different spoiler in fact. Much more aggressive end plates, the gurney flaps that you have over the back of it, and of course the new badging, the Dark Horse badging. And while I'm here, look at this paint colour, blue ember as it's called, blue from a distance, but as you can see up close, you've got that metallic red-orange sparkle. This paintwork out in the sunshine must look glorious. I can't wait to see it at some point before too long. We have different exhaust tailpipes down here as well, and this car also has the handling package. You'll notice the wheels are larger. There is a significant offset as well, plus we have the new Pirelli Trofeo RS tyres. Their rival to the Michelin Cup 2R, the Pirelli Trofeo RS is the ultimate in road legal, ultimate track performance, and I imagine they make for quite the ride. But when you look at this car and you see its poise, its sportiness, its aggression in its design, I cannot believe that they have managed to create this from the, let's say, regular Mustang without any further work. Now, no doubt these are not going to be in massive supply, but let's also have a look inside this car, the Mustang Dark Horse, with this dual tone indigo interior. As you can probably see, there is the blue with the blue stitching for the seat surrounds. We've got the drift stick because the car does offer a drift mode, and we have that different shift knob in the center as well. 6-speed manual, reverse to the upper left, and the ball knob at the top of it as well. Now, big changes with the displays, very different to all of the previous Mustangs. The idea here is to introduce more technology, more customization that you can have. There's a 12.4-inch digital display for the driver, 13.4-inch for your infotainment sitting in the very center of the dashboard, but a lot of familiar controls from the Ford family, and I find this detailing works really very well with the exterior of this on the Mustang Dark Horse. In fact, there is also a badge over on the passenger side of the dashboard as well, exactly where it has been with the Shelby GT500, for example, on my car previously. To show you a little bit more, let me take a seat in the Dark Horse for the first time. Look at this, 3D printed titanium, in fact, for the ball that you have just here. The chassis plaque over there on the passenger side of the dashboard. Some familiarity to the design, the steering wheel, the shapes, the controls that you have through there, but a very, very different look to the double canopy that's been found on all previous generations. These are, of course, the Recaro sport seats. We do have the seats in the back, unlike my track pack version of the GT500, but this is the Mustang dialed up. The 7th generation is here, long awaited, but with our USB-C ports, wireless charging pad, cup holders here in the center, very familiar central console, but this new Tremec gearbox is specific to the Dark Horse. The red start-stop engine button positioned just there in the central console. We can take basically a first look at this today. Things like the engine bay will still have to await for the future, but this flare from the paint is really magnificent. You can only get 3 different colors on the Dark Horse. This in the blue ember, the vapor blue over there, and also shadow black, so very much going with the dark theme with a bit of blue thrown in. Of course, the ultimate car from the blue oval. Now, it's this design that really stands out to me, having that hood cooling, having this very strong horizontal line similarly over the top of the front grille. All of these openings are to do with the cooling. Look at the way you have those eyelids through the headlights themselves as well, and the contrast with the inserts down here. Obviously all of your sensors and things to do with the driving experience, and then the lower splitter, as I mentioned earlier, to help with the track performance of it. All 3 cars here on the Ford stand at Barrett-Jackson feature the 5-litre V8, the GTs and the Dark Horse, but also available from the start of production will be a version featuring the latest development of the 2.3-litre EcoBoost, which, like the GT, comes in both the fastback body style and also the convertible. In fact, talking convertible, to show you a little bit of this, like before, we have the folding soft top roof mechanism. We still have some space for 2 passengers to sit in the rear. That, of course, folds up while you're static or while you're driving, but I want to show you a little bit more inside this particular car, where we have the dual tone against that rapid red paint with the black and red interior, plus the regular, if we could say, 6-speed gear shifter, as opposed to what we've seen in the Dark Horse itself. Now, to step in here, which is doing live demos of the dashboard, hence the cameras that we have, we're looking at the new track display. As you can see, of course, there are various different driving modes that you can cycle through, but this particular display has the horizontal rev counter up top. As you can see, revving nice and high. We've got the very prominent gear selector. If you were in some of the more road-going modes, shall we say, these will be switched around so that you have your speedometer a little bit more prominently, plus plenty of other information. And the idea here is to be able to offer all sorts of different configurability through this display, which works with the Unreal Engine and has the most awesome graphics, which I can't wait to see in detail. As you can see on this current display, though, we've got the exhaust mode settings down towards there. You can change the cluster theme. You can actually put this even into a style that represents the old Fox body with some circular graphics for the dials in very bright, luminous colors. We've got this 12.4-inch display, familiar, I suppose, in some ways to before, but this completely new look, having this 13.4-inch screen here, which again, you can change so much of. In the standard view, you've got your heated seats, you've got your climate control settings along the bottom, but it illuminates and pinpoints and tells you what you're doing. It shows you lots of different animations, lots of different configurability, and lots of different settings and things that you can go through to customize and set up the car exactly as you wish. Seated inside here though, it feels very nice. And of course, we don't yet have word on pricing for the various different models. Expect for the GT $40 or so thousand. Dark Horse rumored to be in the region of 60,000, but we'll wait to find out a little bit more down the line. Certainly though, in terms of the design, while these things do tend to create discussion, this does give a very sporty look, and you have features like this hockey stick crease in the rear shoulder to just emphasize its sportiness. It looks more poignant, it looks more like it's leaning forwards. It means business, it means attack, it means being ready to go out and drive. And I imagine that this is actually going to be really quite something to drive. The Dark Horse looks the part, and shot in that rubber with the uprated setup that it has, I can only imagine that this is going to be mega. We are of course here at the 2023 Barrett-Jackson auction in Scottsdale, where there's been this long history between Ford and Barrett-Jackson, in particular with VIN 001 cars, like the representative example that we have over there, which have raised huge sums of money to support different charities, to give back to people as well, which is super exciting. It's going to be very interesting to see how exactly that goes. But this is of course very interesting to me in particular, having driven my GT500 at different racetracks, having done long distance drives with it, and enjoying keeping a car over here in the United States. You can imagine that this brings a level of comfort and usability, and the Mustang is such an iconic car. I make no secret that one day I'd love to add a 60s Mustang as well to my collection, but to perhaps look at one of each different generation, maybe to have the 6th generation car that I have, the ultimate with the GT500 with the carbon fiber track package from Shelby, this being the ultimate launch version, shall we say, of the new Mustang. And you know it's going to be a very popular car because they've built on a winning formula and extrapolated that out even further. But bringing back a name like this, and it's arguably a psychological thing, but I find it so exciting that they can do this. And you see it here as I've been listening to people talking, coming to visit the Ford stand and finding out about this car for the first time. You can see that excitement around it. If you think about all the different models, I personally have favorite eras. I think the recent and current era is absolutely right up there, the height of performance and technology, but to also offer it with a 6-speed gearbox, to offer a naturally aspirated V8 with a 6-speed gearbox in these current times is actually amazing. To still have that in the lineup, and obviously to offer the choice. While Dark Horse is a coupe, of course the GT, which will no doubt be a very popular enthusiast choice, is a convertible or a coupe, either way. And then obviously, as I said, the developments as well of the 2.3 EcoBoost that sits beneath. This car actually has the headlights with their eyelids illuminated at the moment, so you can see that new look. The lights always being the face of a car and sitting quite low, and with this slope down towards the front and these very horizontal angular lines gives it that look. Also here, as I didn't really focus on, this is the standard front end splitter, shall we say, as opposed to the Dark Horse that we saw earlier with the much more aggressive full length splitter extended out beneath the front of the car. So we're going to be seeing VIN 001 as it does head across the auction block, as it goes across the line, to see exactly how that goes. But being here with this and taking a first look at it, it's just mega. Other things to tell you about, well, 11 different colors in total, including one that I really quite like, yellow splash, a metallic yellow paintwork. There's optional Magna Ride suspension for the GT and for the EcoBoost derivatives. You get that as standard on the Dark Horse. So the Dark Horse specification is actually very high from the off. Of course, there are more different things that you can add to it. You could add some optional carbon fiber wheels that come from Carbon Revolution. I have the carbon wheels on the GT500. Of course, taking away some of the unsprung mass from the wheels is quite a significant thing in terms of driving dynamics, but this has been super cool to see, super exciting to be here at Barrett-Jackson to know that that car is going to be heading up, VIN 001 in the auction. And I tell you what, knowing that there's going to be an absence of a Shmeemobile here in the US in the not too distant future, when my current car out here ships back home to the UK, there's definitely a space that needs to be filled. And don't you think one of these a new 7th gen Mustang Dark Horse would be a rather epic car to do it. That's the direction I'm thinking at the moment, but that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for joining me here at the 2023 Barrett-Jackson auction in Scottsdale, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.